Welcome back. You are watching, obviously, the Sammy Makki Sports Report. You saw me a second ago. A mini reset. If you used to watch some of the other shows I did, remember about the reset. So the Yankees played the Angels on Thursday afternoon. It was a pretty good game. They won 6-5. Now, Mariano Rivera, I don't know what's happened to him here. 3 consecutive bad outings for Mariano Rivera. Who knows what's going on with that, but the Yankees did have an impressive game. Curtis Granderson continued his MVP-type season. Robinson Cano contributed. Cano hit a grand slam in the game. That's what gave the Yankees the lead. It was just enough. They held on. It was tied 2. Cano hit a grand slam, making it 6-2, and they held on to win by a score of 6-5. That's what that was all about. Mariano Rivera, though, he was not good. Now, he didn't blow this game. He almost blew 3 consecutive save opportunities, but he came pretty close because Rivera allowed a run. Now, Corey Wade had a rare bad showing. He gave up 2 runs in the 6, 7, 8. In the 9th inning. It wasn't a safe situation. It was 6-2. He gave up 2 runs, made it 6-4. Rivera came in, gave up a home run, but the Yankees held on to win 6-5. 2-out save for Mariano Rivera. Meanwhile, Curtis Granderson hit his 32nd home run for the Yankees. He now leads all of Major League Baseball in runs batted in with over 90. He leads the majors with 106 runs scored. It's only the middle of August. He already has 106 runs scored. What's that supposed to be? Some guys go their whole career without ever scoring 100 runs in a single season. Now, that part may not be as surprising because the Yankees are going to score runs, or second in the majors in runs scored, I believe. But what's surprising, other than the home runs, because Yankee Stadium, let's face it, is bandbox, the runs batted in. Who would have thought that Curtis Granderson, of all people, would lead the majors in RBI on August 11th? You would have thought Pujols first. You would have thought a couple of teammates on the Yankees, perhaps A-Rod if he was healthy, or Mark Teixeira, who's not far behind. Maybe, anybody, but not Curtis Granderson. He is having an Albert Pujols-like season. Now, the batting average is only 275, but he's going to hit himself 40 home runs. He's going to drive in 120 runs. He's going to score 135 runs, something in that, around that. That is just unbelievable. So, is Curtis Granderson, with all these, big-time numbers, is he the American League MVP right now on August 11th? And I am going to have to pour cold water on that. I don't think he's the MVP for a couple of reasons. First of all, he's on the Yankees. A lot of times when you're a Yankee, you don't get voted for because he has a lot of other players around him in the lineup, and you're just one of a bunch and it all cancels out. Teixeira, Cano, the whole thing. But that's not really the reason why. I don't really buy into that as being the reason why Granderson is not the MVP. I just think it's Adrian Gonzalez of the Red Sox. First of all, I predicted that Adrian Gonzalez would be the American League MVP. And what he's done has given me no reason to back off of that. So, I think that Adrian Gonzalez right now is the MVP. He has great numbers, over 90 RBI himself. He doesn't have as many home runs. He's been a little disappointing in the power department in his first year at Fenway Park. But I do think that he's the MVP right now for a Red Sox team that started 2-10, and now they are in first place. They have a better record than the Yankees right now. So I would give that award to Adrian Gonzalez. Moving on here, Robinson Cano, we can't forget about him because he hit a grand slam, as I mentioned earlier, in the 2-2 game that busted open in the 7th inning at Yankee Stadium on Thursday afternoon to make it 6-2. So, who is the better hitter right now? Is it Curtis Granderson? Is it Robinson Cano? This is when we have to do some comparing, because it is worth comparing. Let's not just snub Cano here. The guy last season proved what he could do. Now, Cano has not been as good as last year. He doesn't have as many home runs as Granderson by a long shot. I believe he has 20. He doesn't have as many RBI. He only has 81. But he does have a higher batting average. He's hitting .303. And I would still say that Granderson is the better hitter. Cano is probably the better all-around hitter. It's just having a slightly down season. Down season, 80 RBI. But this season, I would actually one Granderson in a tough spot, more than Robinson Cano. Now, obviously, you did see the Grand Slam on Thursday, but at the same time, assuming the Yankees make the playoffs, when the playoffs come around, I just think that if you want that big at bat, I would just trust Granderson a little more. It looks like this season, Granderson is coming up with the big hits, and Cano has been, he's been there. He's been great. I mean, let's not fool ourselves here. So, while I'm bringing up Robinson Cano's numbers here, I could just, talk a little more about that subject, because last season was hands down Cano, and I thought that Cano was going to be the best hitter on the Yankees this season. Now, here's the numbers. 303 for Cano, 20 home runs, 81 runs batted in. He has scored 74 runs. So, while he's produced 91, 155 runs, Granderson has produced 90 RBI, about 196 runs. I mean, that's a lot. He's going to produce over 200 runs. Cano, not quite. So I think that right now I would want Granderson more than Cano in a bigger spot. Now, Ivan Nova was on the mound for the Yankees on Wednesday, and he pitched a pretty good game. He won his 11th game. Now, he came up last season, and it looked like he had good stuff, but I don't think anyone thought he was really going to be this good. He's won 11 games this season. He's in the American League Rookie of the Year discussion, of course. But when the playoffs come around, it's not a given that Joe Girardi is going to allow him to start a playoff game. I mean, just take a look at the way things have gone here. The Yankees are reluctant to take A.J. Burnett out of the rotation because he's making $82 million. Phil Hughes, it's probably going to come down to between Hughes and Nova. Now, the givens come playoff time, the Yankees are probably only going to go for starters, especially in the first round, probably also in the second round. The givens are CC Sabathia, I would say Freddie Garcia, he's had a pretty good season, and I would say Bartolo Colon. I would say those are the three givens. Now you have three other starters. You have A.J. Burnett with the big money, you have Ivan Nova with the big numbers, and you have Phil Hughes with the big expectations. That's the way I put those three. Big money, big numbers, big expectations. Obviously I go with big numbers, because big expectations, you never know what's going to happen with Phil Hughes. Just take a look at Job Chamberlain. And big money, that means Jack. He hasn't done anything for Burnett. So I would go with Nova. I wish if I were a Yankee fan, which I'm not, but I would like to see Ivan Nova start Game 3 of the American League Division Series. I think he should. So we'll see what happens with that. That wraps up the Yankees segment. One more segment to go on the Sammy Makki Sports Report. I like to call it the Sports Wrap-Up. We will get to those topics after a little reset.